GMAT has come up with something new, and it is called the GMAT Superscore. And honestly, it is a little bit crazy, so we are going to get into that first. And after that, a master's event. If you're planning to apply to master's programs such as MIM, MIF, MSc, or MSBA, stay with me because that one is worth your time. And if you are applying to business school in general, there are two tools that we have built that I think that you're going to want to use. I'm very excited to talk you guys through all of it. Everything that I mentioned in this video is linked in the description below, so let's get right into it. Alrighty. The Superscore. Now, if you've taken the GMAT more than once, you already know the frustration. Maybe your quant was great on your first attempt. Your verbal was better on the second. But every attempt gets scored on its own, so you have never been able to put your best sections together. That is exactly what a Superscore does. GMAT now takes your highest quant, your highest verbal, and your highest data insights from across all of your attempts and combines them into one total, even if those three came from three different sittings. They announced this back in June and switched it on this month. And here's the part that surprises most people. You do not have to do anything. If you have sat the Focus Edition more than once, your Superscore has already been calculated and is sitting in your MBA.com account right now. Go and just check. A couple of quick rules. Test center attempts and online attempts both count. Scores from the older version of the GMAT do not, and neither do cancel scores. And there is one thing to be careful about. Your Superscore does not come with a percentile. Your individual section scores still have theirs, but the combined total is just a number on its own. So please guys, do not put a Superscore percentile on your resume or your application because that figure does not exist. There's also a deadline attached to this one. GMAT is sending out vouchers for 5 free score reports so that you could send your updated report to 5 programs without paying for it. Check the email address linked to your MBA.com account. The code runs out on 31st August and you have to use all 5 cents in one go. There's no coming back later for the ones that you did not use. So decide on your 5 schools before you log in. We have written the whole thing up, the rules, a worked example, and what schools are actually saying about it so far. The link is in the description below. Now that master's event that I promised you guys about, if you're applying to a master's program rather than an MBA, you have probably noticed the problem already. Almost every admissions event out there is built around MBA applicants. So we are running one just for you guys, and it is called the Master's Spotlight Fair, and it is on 9th of September. MIM, MIF, MSc, MSBA, those are the programs in the room, and it runs from 7 to 10 in the morning Pacific time, which is 7:30 to 10:30 in the evening if you are watching from India. Admissions teams joining us include INSEAD, HEC Paris, ESCP, St. Gallen, Michigan Ross, Emory, Goizueta, Carnegie Mellon, Tepper, Johns Hopkins, Carey, and Nanyang Business School. There are 2 panels as well, one on how to choose between a master's in finance and asset management, and one where current students tell you what the experience is actually like, which is usually the most honest part of any event. When you register, you also get live one-on-one profile reviews, application fee waivers at a few of the schools, a free week of GMAT Club tests, and a toolkit with recommendation letter templates, resume formats, and sample essays. And there's a grand prize, a private 1-hour essay review with BB, who's our founder, and that one goes to whoever is the most engaged attendee on the day, so sessions attended, time spent, and how much you get involved in the Q&A. It is free to register and the link is in the description below. Now, remember those 2 tools that I mentioned about the tools that might be very, very useful to you guys? Well, the first one is actually about money. Applying to business school is expensive before you have even been admitted, of course. Application fees at the schools we track run from $75 to $275 each, and if you apply to 6 or 7 schools, that is well over $1,000 just to be considered. Now, what a lot of applicants do not realize is that most schools will let you skip that fee completely if you fit one of their categories. The problem is is that every school buries those rules somewhere different on their site. So we read all of them and put 46 schools on one page. For each school, it tells you who qualifies, exactly how to claim it, and by when. Some of it genuinely surprised us, like military service is the widest route by far. 26 of the 46 schools waive or reduce the fee for US military and veterans. Berkeley Haas, for example, waives it for citizens of any country on the African continent with no paperwork at all. Dartmouth Tuck has 10 categories where it happens automatically, including first-generation applicants, and 4 schools on that list charge no application fee in the first place. There's one thing that I want you to take away, even if you never open the page: schools do not refund application fees. 29 of them say that in writing, and some will cancel the waiver completely once you have paid, even if you did qualify. So claim it first, pay second, never the other way around. The full page is linked below. The second tool that I was mentioning is about timing deadlines. Now, every school publishes its own on its own page in its own format. So if you're applying to, let's say, 8 or 10 schools and you're keeping track of 8 different calendars, we built one tracker for all of it: 46 full-time MBA programs, 160 deadlines across the US, UK, Europe, Asia, Pacific, and India. Every date taken from the school's own admissions page, not from some rankings table or somebody else's list. And it is more than just dates, right? You also get the average GMAT, the average GRE, the acceptance rate, class size, and how many recommendation letters each school asks for. Literally everything is in this list so that you can see the whole picture for a school in one row. Quick note on those GMAT numbers, because this trips people up constantly. Some schools still publish scores on the old 200 to 800 scale, and others publish it on the new focus scale. So putting a 730 on the old scale next to a 685 on the new one is not a fair comparison at all. So we converted everything to the focus scale just for you guys. As for where we are in the calendar right now, round 1 is basically here. Cambridge Judge closes on 24th August, the earliest deadline on the whole page. Oxford and Duke's early action are both on 2nd of September. Harvard, Stanford, Kellogg, Columbia, and Darden are all on 9th September. And the 2 things that I would want to know if I were applying this year: Harvard and MIT Sloan only run 2 rounds. So if you miss round 2 there, you are waiting a full year. And at some schools, the date that really decides things comes weeks before the deadline everyone talks about. Dartmouth Tuck guarantees you an interview if everything is in by 1st September. UNC shuts its test waiver route weeks ahead of every round, and you can filter the tracker by region and export the whole thing to Excel or straight into your calendar. Link for that tool is below. Moving on to what is happening on the channel this week. This Thursday, 27th August, I'm going live with Melody Jones from Vantage Point MBA, where we are going to be talking through 5 mistakes that show up in MBA essays. And these are not some beginner level mistakes, okay? These are the ones strong applicants make. Telling a great story and forgetting to say how it actually turned out, naming an emotion instead of letting the reader feel it, writing everything from hindsight so that the reader never gets put inside the moment with you. If you are drafting round 1 essays right now, this one is timed for you. The link to watch live is in the description below. Next, we have a debrief. And for anyone new here, a debrief is when a test taker writes up their entire journey after the exam: what worked, what did not, what they would do differently. They are some of the most useful posts on the forum, and this week it's of a user who scored a 705, and the whole story is data insights. Their first attempt was a 625 with DI at 75. By their third attempt, they had a 705 with DI at 86. Same person, same strong quant, but what changed was the method. They stopped improvising on every question and built a fixed approach for each question type. On data sufficiency, ruling out several answer choices at once instead of checking all 5 one by one. On multi-source reasoning, reading the passage properly first and noting where each piece of information sits instead of jumping back and forth. And then a hard rule on time. If a question goes past about 2 minutes and you still have no clear path, mark it and just move on. Missing one hard question costs you far less than letting it eat at the time of 3 others. They also credit GMAT's mentoring program and keeping an error log for making all of it stick. Worth reading in full, and it is linked below if you guys want to read more of it. There's also a new podcast episode this week too. Random Guess is our show with GMAT Ninja, and in this one, Charles sits down with a neuropsychologist, Dr. Ari Hall, to ask something a lot of test takers quietly wonder about. Can a pill or a supplement actually make you perform better on test day? They get into stimulants, caffeine, omega-3s, energy drinks, nootropic blends, and beta blockers. They also talk about brain fog, when it might be worth speaking to a doctor about it, and how testing accommodations work and why using them is not cheating. Now, I do not want to say this part clearly. That episode is for information only and is not medical advice, so please speak to a qualified medical professional before you make any decisions about medication or supplements. The episode is linked down below. And finally, 2 things on the practice side. Forum Quiz now gives everyone 8 free questions a day. You can build your own quiz for the GMAT, the executive assessment, or the GRE. Just choose your question types, your difficulty level, and where the questions come from. You can turn on a timer or adaptive mode or a streak mode that ends the quiz the moment that you get one wrong. And you can build a quiz straight from your own error log, which is honestly the best way to use it. We have also updated the critical reasoning question directory, that is every CR question on the forum sorted by topic and by difficulty from below 505 all the way up to 805 plus. So if assumption questions are your weak spot, you can drill only those. And that is everything for this week, guys. Every link is in the description below, so go and have a look at whatever is relevant to you. Stay tuned for next week's news. We're always excited to bring you guys whatever we come across in the GMAT and MBA space. And if this was useful, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channels so that you do not miss out on next week's news. See you guys then. Bye.